Welcome to the BH Business Spotlight, where business stories come to life. Hosted by Kaylee Brokenshire and Alex Brown. A show that explores the people behind the businesses, the ideas, the innovation, and the decisions shaping the future. And today, we're stepping into one of the most talked about topics in the world right now, artificial intelligence.
Go crazy.
It's everywhere, transforming industries, changing the way we work, and redefining what's possible for businesses of all sizes. But beyond the hype, what does it actually mean in the real world? Our guest is working at the forefront of this space, helping businesses understand, adopt, and apply AI in a practical and impactful way through his company, Olivia AI. If you've ever wondered how AI can truly be used to grow, optimize, and future-proof a business, this is the conversation you need to hear. Please welcome Nathan.
Hi, Nathan. Thank you for coming on to talk to us today. I'm really intrigued to hear about your company, your AI company.
Yes.
So, a little bit about your company and what it does, who you help, and then I'm interested to hear about how you got into it, how you started.
Okay, great. Well, look, thanks for having me on.
Okay.
Nice experience, nice setup.
It's
very
nice.
very professional indeed. So yeah, I was not sure what I was kind of walking into today, but it's good to see all of this. So thanks for having me here. Where do you want to begin? We want to begin with the business and what we've been doing in terms of me on my journey. So, I'm Nathan Cuervo, for those who don't know me. I guess from a professional sense, you'd probably box me as a technical entrepreneur, if you like. I've got a portfolio of companies that kind of span across hospitality, retail, indoor entertainment, and more recently, AI. So AI automation. So I've been building the Olivia AI network, which is specializing in helping businesses on their AI journey, right? So what does that mean? I guess it's around giving businesses the ability to bring AI into their own workflows, into their own teams, and into their own processes.
Great. So on a consultancy basis kind of thing,
Yeah, more like a service wrap. So we build, manage, host, and consult on, all of the AI technologies that are out there. There's a lot. I'm sure everyone's kind of heard, how many different AI tools there are. But so what we do is we kind of become the partner on the journey of adoption. So we build systems, we host them, and we manage them for our clients in a service wrap, right? So when there's something new, we can be there as a bit of a guiding arm to help them, find a way to bring it into their own companies.
Is there a specific industry you work with more so than?
No, I like to think that we're fairly agnostic from a kind of sector perspective. We definitely see, industries with greater appetite for AI, mainly in and around those kind of heavy, repetitive tasks that, lots of companies face in manufacturing. Finance and insurance is a big one for us at the moment. But ultimately, businesses of all shapes and sizes can absolutely adopt AI solutions. For us, we like to kind of find where and how we can actually get AI in that has an impact, right? So, we would go on a journey with them to say, right, this is what your workflows look like. This is how we can kind of have an impact in a particular part of your business, whether that's across functionality or if that's across a particular problem that they're trying to solve. So no, we're not industry specific. We're fairly agnostic. We definitely see, larger appetite in some sectors over others. But businesses of all shapes and sizes can absolutely, get AI into what they're doing at the moment.
Do you think the appetite comes down to obviously the business owner and maybe there's a growth element to it as well, but is it also down to, I speak for myself as well, like AI for me is still really new and I know it's not, and what it can do, like I'm the chat GPT and that's about it when it comes to AI. So is it they're more kind of like more of an appetite because maybe they're aware of how capable AI is, whereas some people maybe aren't and they're not really sure actually how it could benefit them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, from my own personal experience, I've been in the world of IT for, the last 15 years, right? So my background was in IT transformation 2009, which is when we were taking servers off the floor and putting them into this magical land called the cloud, right? So, Amazon Web Services, I think, was 3 years old at the time when I first got introduced to cloud technologies and server virtualization. I moved into large data center infrastructure deployments, which is quite a mouthful, but I was around at the time of Facebook's first ever data center. So 2012 was when I got involved. 2013 is when they opened their first data center. Uber, Deliveroo, Airbnb, all names we're familiar with. But back then, it was the first time that big tech was a thing. And lots of businesses that are kind of 10 to 15 years old have been on that journey. It hasn't been this kind of, wow, where's it come from? It was a slow proliferation of automation solutions. We moved, industrial to more automated technologies. And I think that's carrying on. So those businesses that were early adopters of things like, infrastructure as a service or cloud computing or server virtualization, this is a natural next step for them, right? So they've been through that journey of, 3-year life cycles on hardware that was sat in a broom cupboard to now cloud infrastructure that they can scale up and down as they need. AI is the natural next step for a lot of companies that are going, automation is something I understand, right? Like, I get an email once I put an order in. We all are familiar with that. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. You put an order in and somebody sent you a letter and it would arrive in the post. So, we're seeing that adoption is kind of staying true to form, where bigger, older businesses that have already gone on transformation journeys, they're the same businesses that we're now talking to about AI adoption and how do I now bring this new tool into my workplace, and how can I get it in to the right people at the right time to make an actual impact. So you're right, it seems like it's super new and that there's only ChatGPT and it's come from nowhere.
Claude is the other one.
Yeah,
so question then, what is your, as an AI expert, I guess?
big comment.
Well, compared to me anyway. Which would you say is your favourite LLM?
Favorite LLM? Okay, so that's going to be a challenge. I guess in terms of companies behind these LLMs, I think we're seeing a lot of really good things coming out of Google, right? Especially for businesses, which is kind of more relevant to this conversation. I think on the personal side, OpenAI are out in front a little bit with us guys using them on our daily to kind of get answers to things nice and quickly. But, Google are doing a lot in terms of tooling, specific tooling. So LLMs, large language models, they started general, fairly broad. What we're seeing is companies like the Anthropics of the world starting to niche down on specific data sets, things that they're really good at, coding, right? We've heard that one come up quite a few times. So I can't hang my hat on an LLM I love, but Google at the moment, Google at the moment is kind of out in front in terms of tooling that they're putting out into the market.
So do you play around with all of them so that you're all seeing the different advances with them?
Exactly, yeah. So we're Google Cloud partners, hence the little Google kind of preference I've got there. But we're Google Cloud partners, which means that we get early access to all of the Google suite of tools. So we can play with technologies that aren't yet out in mainstream, which is great for us as a business that's trying to kind of support other businesses bringing tools in. But we're also AWS Activate partners, so we can see what Amazon are doing. We're part of the Microsoft Azure Foundry platform, which gives us all of the Microsoft ecosystem, which includes, OpenAI, which we're familiar with, all of the cloud services coming out of Microsoft and some of their proprietary tools too. So yes, we play with all of them. We're always testing them. But more importantly, we generally go on a journey of discovery alongside the client, right? So they come to us with a problem that they want to solve. It might not necessarily be one size fits all. And what we do a lot of the time in our solutions is mix and match. So you might have Google doing a little bit, then we bring in an OpenAI LLM, and then it might land with some code, so that goes straight to Anthropic. So we can kind of build solutions because we are LLM agnostic, and it allows us to kind of really explore the market, find what's best for our clients, and then get solutions into them.
Amazing. It's so fascinating. I'd like to dive deeper in a bit into the early adopters, the ones that are really utilising it in their businesses. But to the ones that haven't really adopted it yet, the ones that really don't know much about AI, what would you say to them about getting into it? Because ultimately, I think that they're going to get left behind in business if they're not adopting it. So what would you say?
I guess we look at kind of some of the common misconceptions, right? The misunderstandings around AI is a good place to begin, because lots of businesses come to us with the expectation that it's going to create this great outcome, right? That is a misunderstanding, because the only way to get to a really good outcome is to not skip any of the steps that are required for a good outcome. So that's planning, that's gathering the right resources, that's getting the right tools, that's having a good understanding of your own problem. Then you get to better AI solutions. So before you go and open the box, Pandora's box of AI, start with like a workflow map. Like, what is it that you're already doing if you're trying to find an AI to replicate something, right? So we see that a lot, especially in kind of smaller businesses where they go, oh, we've got Jenny and John in the corner, they're our customer service. Like we don't want to hire another customer service, we'll get AI to do it. But they don't understand what Jenny and John do. They don't know the job that they do. They
really
don't know.
Breaking it
see
down.
it as a quick fix almost.
So there's no shortcut to a good outcome in the form of the planning, the resources. Getting that bit right is still fundamental. So to answer the question in terms of what people should do that are scared about AI, like, start with having a really good understanding of your own processes, your own systems. What is the tools that you're already using? Then it makes AI super simple, because you can match a good AI tool that fits your workflow, not the other way around. If you go the other way around, generally you'll put an AI in, it won't work, you'll get scared, it will go on the shelf, that's it, you don't touch it for another 6 months. Right? So workflow first, break it down, take small steps, and find a tool that can actually fix the problem that you're trying to solve.
I find a lot of people use it now, especially with, like, if I think about what I do from a social media perspective, a lot of people are using it for copy at the moment. But then we'll always come back to that, and it'd be like, it can only help you if you fed it with the right information to begin with. You'll see it a lot now, social media, websites. It's very easy now to tell if someone's just been like, write me a caption on
exactly.
like, I'm in fitness space, and write me a caption on weight loss. You're like, wow, you know what I mean? But actually, if it was fed with the right, your personality, your energy, like the content maybe you've created before, is then going to give you back actually quality that you could potentially use. Because like you say, if they've not got that, or there's no purpose behind you using it, you then get a little bit scared and put it away and go back to manual.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And text is a good example, really, to kind of highlight that, right? We could all sit in front of ChatGPT, and with the goal is, let's write a blog about butterflies. We could all come out with 3 very different pieces of content. If we had a copywriter amongst us, they're going to get the best out of that tool. They're going to not say, write me a blog about butterflies. They're going to add emotion. They're going to add description.
Storytelling.
Things that they need to get to a better outcome. So we see it a lot, but tools are there to be used at the end of the day. And breaking down a problem, giving it more, you generally get a better result.
So the more you're putting in, the more it's learning, and the better the output.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And giving it the time it deserves. This is a tool to fix a big problem, right? You want it to write every single piece of content for however long. You might want to spend a bit of time. You might want to spend a bit of time to get it ready for that, because you might get it right once, but then it won't work longer term.
So. I think that's, and like you just said, that's the time where, that's the point where you have to give it time, and you have to, because it can be a good time. I mean, that's ultimately the thing, right? If, say, like a small business, maybe one-man band, was looking to do AI, captions and content is probably going to be the first place they start. But it's, like you say, it's using it to your own ability, because we see it quite a lot, and it actually then's having a detrimental effect on their business, because they lose their voice, they lose their brand, they lose their energy, because actually it's just, how can I do this in the quickest space? How can I do this in the quickest time? Exactly. And just chuck it. I mean, what they call it, AI slop, I think, is the word that's used for captions. But that's nice. Would you say the biggest thing is ultimately then, if you had a one-man band, is it to save time, Or is there an element of curiosity about it, an element of actually, I want to grow, so actually can this help me do it?
Yeah, look, I guess at that smaller scale, when you're in kind of startup or one-man band territory, you're always looking at the tools that are around you to either take you to your next step or find a way to improve what you're already doing. I don't think that changes based on scale. So, in that one-man band scenario, again, there is no shortcut to a great outcome, right? Like, you're only going to be as good as the outcome that you're trying to achieve based on what you put in beforehand. So whether it's caption writing or building an entire AI system, it really is the same approach. It's break it down, understand what you're looking for, map that workflow, put the time, effort, and energy into making it what you need it to be, and then you can find those kind of successes in deploying AI. Really,
that's it. Because I think you can use these AI platforms to write your content.
Yes,
but then it's actually putting that content actually out there or into some visuals, isn't it? It's not just yes, you can get it to write the captions quite quickly if you put enough in how you want it to come out.
Yeah,
but it's then actually implementing it, doing it.
And a lot of people use it as like a thinking partner as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, what do you think about this? It's like you're having a chat with a robot. Like maybe you go and speak to somebody. But honestly, because it knows you, it can actually maybe give you a sensible answer.
It's a really good early use case.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
I think that, most people go straight to generate me some text, but I actually like the way that these are becoming kind of co-pilots and assistants for people because, they're more internal. Right, so they're helping you in your everyday. There's no risk getting something out or it making a decision or taking an action that you don't like. I think those internal co-pilot or GPT style two-way chatbots are actually are a great use case, especially for business. I think that everybody should at least explore whether it can help you as just a sounding board, because they are super knowledgeable. Like, you cannot underestimate hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars has gone into giving these AIs the data required across infinite numbers of subjects, right? So they absolutely do have more knowledge than us. Like, I know it's scary, but they do. And that means that you always do have that sounding board if you require it in a tool for 20 quid a month, which is pretty phenomenal.
Convenience though as well, right? If anybody works with like a mentor or anything, like if you want to message them, like you're not going to get a response like that. And I think we're living in that day and age now where we have done for a few years where we expect it, like Amazon, you expect it like next day. Like if it's any longer, you're like, what's happening here? But then again, that is that convenience that it's so readily available. And like you say, for 20 quid a month, like it's accessible for everybody.
So
definitely,
from my experience as an accountant and as a trusted advisor to clients that have businesses, the amount of times I get clients say, ChatGPT told me, and I'll spiel off a load of what they say is the legislation. And obviously, it doesn't have all of the answers, and it's looking at multiple sources of information online, isn't it? So it's not all factual, but I'll be totally honest, and I do use ChatGPT. I have a bot that only searches HMRC Gov site, so that any question I put into that, I know it's only ever going to give me any information that is from the government site.
Perfect.
So that works for me for the quick pointers to the exact legislation, the exact manual online. But clients come to me with such a random a random list of things that ChatGPT has told them that's factual. So it is interesting. But that's why would you say it's going to replace humans?
I was actually going to ask that. Do you feel like do you feel like there's a maybe like an industry, a business that actually, not if they don't adopt AI, but AI could actually take over?
Look, it's a big one, right? And I don't want to kind of overstretch my understanding of, every single industry, and I don't want to kind of discredit anybody who's in any of these roles. So I'll tread with some delicacy here. But exactly as you described, right? There's an opportunity definitely in these tools to get niched down in their understanding of a particular subject, right? So take your industry, for example. Your ability to get an AI to do that means that other people can also get an AI to do that. And that does create pockets of opportunity where, at the moment, some of your clients are coming to you with complete nonsense, right? The moment they understand that they could also
I
use
just told
it,
you that as well, guys.
you've given it to them. Suddenly, that gives you a bit of a kind of, it's twofold, right? It gives you an opportunity to level up, so you can then take your experiences, your understanding, your knowledge, and all of the things that make you good at what you do, and then apply it on top. So suddenly you're more valuable, right? So the things that aren't so easily available to everybody suddenly have more value than they might have done. The other part of that is, the way in which AI works is done on probabilities. Underneath the hood is examples and probabilities. So once AI has enough examples of a particular subject, and the probability gets higher and higher and higher, which is what these models are doing. Every new release is they're getting better at predicting what you might say to a client, really, at the end of the day. So once they get better, that is inevitably going to have an impact across multiple industries. Which ones is still up for debate. I think, if I was to put my finger on it, I think lower level repetitive tasks are most at risk. That isn't to say, everything that requires logic is suddenly at risk from AI, but those lower level repetitive tasks where there is an abundance of data on a particular subject and the probabilities of it getting it wrong are low, like they're at risk, because AI absolutely can now compete in that space. And that is just the nature of the technology, I'm afraid, that it has the capability to do that. It is getting better, and there is absolutely going to be conversations to be had around, right, what does that mean, and what jobs are at risk, and what does it mean for people? Again, I don't want to overstep my mark here. This is all opinion based, but I think it's going to bring opportunity at the same time, right? Like, we're generally very good at adapting, and I think what's missing from some of this conversation around which jobs is AI going to take first is the speed at which adoption happens. Okay, so I gave you that scary piece where yes, it can absolutely get there, but to bring it back a little bit is generally adoption isn't as fast as we think it is, right? Cloud computing, server virtualization, mobile technology, unified communications. We've seen it over and over and over again. And generally adoption is actually much slower in reality. So we don't generally tend to adopt things super quick. 15 million iPhones in 2012, now probably billions, right? It took a long time to get there. Tech was great, super accessible, wasn't majorly expensive, lots of similarities. Naturally, we just weren't that quick at adopting it. So yes, big picture, things are getting disrupted. Bringing it back to reality a little bit, I don't think adoption is going to be as fast as we're all expecting. I think it's naturally going to take time, which means that we should have time to adjust, which means that if we've got time to adjust, we'll find other value propositions for the work that we all do, right? Me included.
So you're with Olivia AI Network, the solution that you are offering. How does that differentiate, or how can you set yourself apart to the business that decides to try and teach themselves?
Yeah, look, I guess the major thing for us is that we want to bring that level of experience to automation processing. AI is one of the tools that everybody can jump in and everybody can play with. Well, we've established that in some of this conversation. But to get it to a place where it's production ready at scale, that you can trust, that matches expectation, that achieves the goal that you want, you generally need to understand how you can break these problems down into usable AIs that you can actually get into that business environment. So we differ from kind of going at it alone in the fact that we know how to kind of build AI solutions in and amongst standard automation processes, right? So there's generally two types of automation: task-based, decision-making based, right? Intelligence-based. The difference between the two is tasks are pre-thought. A human sits there, thinks about it and goes, right, I need 12 steps to get to an outcome. Decision-making is, I'm not going to follow any of these steps. I'm going to make decisions along the way. You need a mixture of both to get to a place where you have a production-ready AI solution. So that's kind of the key differentiator. But at the same time, absolutely give it a go, right? Get out there, build AI, fail fast, and then hopefully we can be at the end of the phone and show you how to get there correctly.
I think that's the thing. People pay for peace of mind though as well, right? You know what I mean? It ultimately brings somebody in and it's like, cool, that bit's handled.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like, you want to do it yourself. The time, the energy, maybe a financial element. It's almost like, actually, I'm going to do the bit that I'm the expert at and I'll bring somebody else in to do the other side of it.
Yeah, and AI requires an expertise in the field, like we mentioned, like you mentioned, right? Get that HMRC link in there. It's a new tool. So when we talk to clients, the piece they're very good at is understanding their own solutions, services, and products. Leave how we get that into an AI to somebody like us. And generally you get to that outcome better and faster. And a lot of the time for a lot less money, because although there are £20 chatbots,
it's the time that's the cost.
That's the thing,
yeah. And token usage in kind of enterprise solutions is high. When you move into getting one of these AIs to solve a problem inside of the business, you do get to token usage, and that can kind of scale, especially if you get it wrong in terms of how you've got those agents built. You can, one slip and you double the cost to get to the same answer.
Yeah, and it's the frustration, like I say, that comes with it. And let's be honest, people haven't got time. They would just rather be, and then it's done properly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then it's not, I've paid for it and I've done it wrong. I've got to give it to somebody else.
But we're always there if it goes wrong.
This is it. I'd love to chat about like when you first got into business, like the businesses you kind of ran before. Have you always been in business, like from a younger age? Or?
Yeah, for my sins. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I started my first business at 18. But I'm a person that does everything quite young. So I have a 17-year-old daughter, believe it or not. So I started that at 17. So 1 year before my first company. But I've always been interested in technology. I've always been interested in IT. I said early background was in sales and marketing, specifically in that transformation space, mainly working with some of the largest solution providers in the globe. T-Mobile, Cisco, Citrix, VMware, Digital Realty, Iron Mountain, SunGard. I've worked with some incredible technology companies. And I saw that there was businesses winning when they adopted fast and they used tech to kind of make big cost efficiency improvements. And I started my own business in and amongst that world, right? Like it was an eBay. It was like an eBay website that I first started. So it was in tech. It was a website. I had my own little server that I was renting, and from there I just kept moving forward through this journey of how can I put good tech into an idea and make that into something that other people are going to want. So from a website in my bedroom, let's call it, my first proper company, I call it a proper company, was a digital marketing company that I started. That was generating hundreds of thousands of inbound inquiries. We were operational in about 13 different countries. Again, our edge in that particular business was we were already deploying machine learning and automation technology to make our leads better, which is kind of where the Olivia AI story comes from. In and amongst it, I've made investments in other businesses and had insurance companies, all with the same backbone and all with the same sort of mission, which is good tech, great workflow process, automation generally gave me an edge, as I built these companies.
Was that almost that, like, if you look at the digital marketing one, is that almost like you were 2 steps ahead of everybody else because you'd input in tech and automation?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the Olivia AI origin story, right? So that digital marketing company was what became the Olivia AI network. We realized very quickly that it was actually the tech we were using that was giving us the advantage in the lead generation space. So in marketing, right, it's a core business feature, function. You know, everybody needs marketing. We realized that actually by deploying automation, we had a super early OpenAI developer license. So we were building, it was a chatbot, very, very early version of it, but we were using that to be the quickest on the back of the lead, right? So the lead would come in, our chatbot would go there. Hi, thanks very much for the inquiry. Is there anything I can help you with? It was the first kind of real deployment of something more than just if this, then that, right? If it does this, then do that.
Yeah.
It was AI making decisions for us. COVID hit. 2019 was when we started really doing the automation. COVID hit. So, you know, we doubled down on building whilst the world was slowing down. You know, we put time, effort, energy, and money into building a software as a service platform specifically designed to let other companies build their own chatbots, right? That was our first iteration of Olivia Network. Quickly realized that was kind of a race to the bottom. Everybody was kind of building chatbots. Wasn't that much of a of something we could hang our hats on, but the learnings of how to create these AI agents working across these different platforms, trying, testing, we were delivering alongside that, right? So clients would come to us and we'd say, oh no, you can't use a chatbot, let's build you something custom. And that is the origin story of Olivia AI, where we went from this digital marketing company solving a problem of our own, realizing that actually it was the tech that was the differentiator, not the fact that our leads were any better. And COVID hit at the worst time, the wrong time, but also a great time for us because it meant that we could kind of double down on what we were doing. The other side of COVID, we were clear on our objective, which was, right, well, let's just help other businesses deploy good AI solutions. And that's kind of the journey we've been on since.
That's crazy. I really like what you said then about the chatbot, because that's a big thing when it comes to business and marketing. It is just the speed of which you get back to somebody.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I think the you know, people are watching so much content and they're consuming so much at the moment. So actually having something like that can literally just handle it for you.
Yeah. And that for us, it went well. Like, don't get me wrong, that SaaS product still exists. But, you know, now we are a business that has a number of our own proprietary tools, like a chatbot. You can go build your own, but we are more focused on custom delivery of solutions. But yeah, exactly that. So, you know, giving somebody the ability to go and make these AIs better was our kind of objective at the time, right? It was like, you can make them personal, you can add your own stuff to it, and now you can connect it to Facebook and Instagram, and we made it really easy for lots of businesses to build their own chatbot, personalize them, connect them into all their socials, which was great. And it you know, great product, you know, did well for us, but there's so much more opportunity now.
Yeah.
And that is the reality of the space we're in. It's moving fast, and there's just so much more opportunity. And we've realized that it's actually in our experience of how to get these AIs to perform consistently, accurately, and doing a lot of that work that a business might not understand, which is you do need to break these down. There is no shortcut to a really good outcome, even if you've got the best AI in the world, right? And that for us is where we're focused now. So yes, chatbots in social media, but equally a custom solution that's yours that goes one step beyond generally will get you a better result.
I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of what you're saying is going over my head because I'm not very techie.
Yeah.
But would you say that that's a skill that has set you apart, I guess, being techie?
Yeah.
You can see this in
Yes, I would say it as a skill that sets me apart, mainly because I can see it from both angles. I'm uniquely positioned where I've built my own businesses and I've been searching for like that one differentiator, that opportunity that exists. Like, is it in tech, or is it in my brain, or is it in some IP that I don't know about yet? Like, where's my moat? And I think it allows me, because I've got this tech background, to deploy that into not only my own businesses, which I've done fairly successfully. You know, there's a few failures along the way, as you'd expect, but I've done it for my own businesses. It makes me uniquely positioned for our clients, right?
Yeah.
I can I can dumb it down if I need to and just say, look, the actual problem is you need more sales, right? And then how do we get there? And is there an AI tool that can help you?
But I think, would you say that the next generation of potential entrepreneurs coming up through from school, we are in a different age, we are in a different generation where AI is at our fingertips, which it wasn't when we were children.
No.
But what would you say to somebody young, straight out of school, uni, that has an entrepreneurial mind? What do you think you would say to them?
Embrace
from a tech side.
Yeah, embrace technology, right? Startups right now have the edge. It's just a fact. You're watching industries that we have known to be safe havens, right? Software houses, they've been the hardest hit the last year because suddenly entrepreneurs are coming out of those places and going, well, why don't I just quickly code myself a software app, website, marketing tech? Like, they have the edge because they can disrupt those industries, right? You need a CRM and the one off the shelf is £1,500 a month. That was out of reach for a startup, but you needed that tech. Well, guess what? For 20 quid a month, you can go and code your own CRM, right? So startups have the edge, and it's disrupting big software houses. And big software houses was generally where all those entrepreneurs went, right? I know that for a fact. It was always like, I need a particular tool. Let's go, I'll just buy that and use that. Now it would be the other way around. Like, I'm not going to the market to find a tool. Future entrepreneurs are going to an AI to see what they can build, right? And then if they can't build it, fine, I'll go find something. It's going to be that way around. So startups have the edge. Big safe haven industries are getting disrupted. CRMs, any of those big legacy 25-year-old code bases suddenly don't have the advantage when it comes to starting and scaling a business. So what I would say to them is embrace technology, go AI first. If you can't find it off the shelf, you might as well try to code something, because you don't actually need to code anymore. And then you can build your own tools for your own purpose that are super custom, that will solve the job. So that's what I would say to them for sure. Embrace AI first. And if it fails, then find something that already exists. It won't fail.
Coding, that word just seems
scary,
very
right?
techy, but too advanced for me. But I mean, I hear Replit get thrown about as an app that creates apps, creates websites,
right? Yeah, it's coding. The reason why coding's so big in the AI world is because it really is that shift from task-based, how to get to an outcome in the coding world was task-based. So you needed good thinkers, good coders. They had to pre-think of the steps that were needed to get an application to work, right? How do you get the button to work? You have to pre-think about that. Whereas what AI is doing is I can just ask for that button to work and it figures it out itself. So it doesn't need that predefined task-based recipe to follow. It has logic to be able to go and find the answers itself. So coding especially is one of those things where they've blown open an entire industry, because soon enough you'll go, my accounting package, it would be great if it did X, Y, and Z, right? And we've all been here. You go to use a software, you pay for the premium version of that software, and you use 10 features maybe? The whole bunch of stuff that you just don't ever use.
Yeah.
Well, now you can go to AI and just build it with the ones that you want. And if you want a new one, you ask for a new one.
So it sounds so easy.
It's quite scary.
That's why
it's scary.
It is scary.
It is easy too. Like, that is the beauty of it, is that it is that simple with natural language. You don't need the skills that you used to need. You just need to be able to kind of ask for
it the right things almost, yeah.
Break it down. What's the outcome? I said earlier, it's no shortcut to a good outcome. If you just break it all down and then start working your way through, then a good outcome will be at the end.
Who do you love working with?
Who do I love working with? In what sense? Like people or tech? I'm a techie, right?
Always
So I'm about
always
to give
tech.
You don't like working with anyone.
Yeah.
You don't like working with people. You like working with computers. I mean, like the business type, the industry, or as in an established or a startup. What excites you the most? And
Yeah, for me, definitely big problems is what
Big
excites me the most. So, if I look at some of the clients that we're working with, generally we're solving big problems for them. So, MCG is a large claims management company that we work with, for example. They are processing 100,000 claims every single month. Their average claim time to handle a claim was sitting around 3 to 5 days. I take huge pride in being able to go in there and get that down to 5 minutes per claim by deploying an
Is that
AI
feasible?
solution. That's what we did.
Wow.
So, we were
That's
able to slash their claims management times. We were able to kind of go the other way from hiring, because one of their biggest challenges was they needed a week to hire. They needed to find somebody, a week to train them, plus more time the other side, and whilst that was happening, their backlog was growing, their claims management times are increasing, right? So we were able to kind of empower that business with a tool that allows them to handle claims efficiently, accurately, consistently, and I love working with those big problems. So that's a very big problem. They were running down the route of, okay, how do we get anything in to fix this that isn't just deploying as many people as we can? So yeah, I love working with big problems, and those businesses that have them is a great place for me.
That's awesome for their like reputation and things like that as
For
well.
sure. Yeah,
'cause,
customer
like,
satisfaction
yeah.
is like high.
how good is that for them?
Yeah.
That they can actually, that's almost a marketing thing for them.
Yeah.
And in
terms of
doing
bringing it
so,
new.
cut costs.
Cut costs,
Beyond,
efficiency.
So on the example of, do we lose humans? Yes, in claim handlers, I guess you can reduce the
Absolutely.
labour time.
Exactly. And yeah, and you see it in other businesses, right? Like Klarna famously, very recently, I think the claim was that they sacked thousands of staff. I think the actual reality is they're just not hiring anymore. Which is where we were talking about, who's getting disrupted, industries that are getting disrupted. It is going to be those, repetitive style tasks. Like that's the reason I base my opinion on the fact that I'm seeing it and I'm going, okay, if your job is, hi, how can I help? Hi, how can I help? It's at risk, because there are tools now that can come in and do that successfully at scale.
At speed as well.
Speed, consistency, and accuracy is the other one, right? So we're really good as humans of having bad days, making mistakes, getting sick, taking time off, all of these things that are inherently human. You don't want that in claims management, right? Like you don't want somebody off, because guess what? Claims
You're
staff.
missing out, yeah.
So from a purely commercial perspective and keeping it purely business focused, you're gonna choose the tool that doesn't have some of those kind of inherently bad for business type traits.
Really interesting. We've covered loads.
It's business at the end of the day, though, as well. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it from a profit perspective.
Yeah, look,
margins.
I guess morality always is going to come in, right? Like, personally, still hire lots of people. Over the years, we've employed hundreds of people across the different businesses. So I'm human first still in that respect. I do think that adoption will be slower. I think that gives us time as humans to kind of go up the run in the ladder, which is great, right? Let's be honest. Why would we want to do the tasks that we don't really like to do, right? The reason they don't turn up to work is because they don't want to be at work doing the job that we asked them to do. So let's just help everybody and ladder us up. But yeah, I am still human first at the end of the day, because I'm not a robot.
And you have feelings.
And I have feelings. Yeah, that helps.
And experience,
right?
yeah.
But it is business as well.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of morality plays a piece, but business goals and objectives are going to come first in
Yeah.
business.
Everyone's business is different. You know what I mean? Some people are going to have a real kind of, if I think about from our side, a big thing is the connection.
Yeah.
So actually, that can't be replicated and that
No.
can't be kind of taken away. So like you just said, I think it does come down to what business do you want to build, and actually, are humans needed or is AI needed, really?
Exactly. And you mentioned kind of the future generations and the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, like they're going into that world, right?
They know no different.
They know no different, right? So the element of, should I start a claims management company or should I start some human to human focused, new industry that hasn't yet been created? Like, they're not going to choose claims management. They're going to go down the route of human to human, like something new that we won't yet know, right? So I'm not too worried about that side of it, like the ones coming through into this space. The ones that are already there, adoption will be slow, so I think that we've got time to adjust, but there are going to be effects of this sort of tech.
So interesting. You've talked about that you've invested in companies on your journey. This is a bit of an out there question, really, but if you were to invest in a company now, where would you invest? Where would you invest?
What have I done? Well, I'll give you one, right? So very recently I invested in an indoor golf simulator business, right? Industry that's human to human, very difficult to replicate. You have to swing the golf club, go out and swing the golf club, but opportunity for automation and AI, right? So that as an industry has always been the same business model, right? You put people in the shop, they've got their golf sims, you make sure they don't break anything, you help them, etc., etc. We've gone automation and AI first. So it's the same business model, but there was an opportunity to make it completely hands-free. No humans involved, no staff at all. So to answer the question, that's the sort of thing that excites me in the world of opportunities, if you like. What are there opportunities that we can get involved in? Things like that. Good businesses, great business models, human to human. Get out. We're going to have more free time probably, right? So lots of people like golf. Made a lot of sense, but the opportunity to automate goes back to my roots, right? So I'm going to stay where my roots lie, which is
it's really good though. Really
get in there, get in there and make it automated, and suddenly you've got yourself a much more exciting and profitable business.
Love that. So interesting. Thank you. Wow. I think we've covered loads.
Good.
I was gonna say, for just to finish off, in terms of obviously all your years in business, the different businesses you've been in, people thinking about starting a business, whether it's AI tech or not, just from that business side of things, like from you, what would you kind of say to those people in terms of thinking about starting?
Yeah, look, it kind of goes back to the same place I'd land with kind of students and entrepreneurs. I think that any idea right now, the tools that exist allow you to test fast. This is the first time in my history, short as it might be, but you can use tools to very quickly validate ideas. We talked about using an AI coding tool to stand up an app. If it's a good idea, let's stand up a POC. It allows business minded people to really get something good stood up nice and quickly. Using AI tools, you can go and do that first proof of concept, you can get your first clients, all without taking too much risk. So I can't really give too much direction in terms of what business to start. Obviously, I start my own and do my own thing, but what I will say is that no matter the business idea that you've got, now is a really good opportunity in history to quickly build what you want. You can do it on your own. You can have all of the tools that you've ever dreamed of, the ones that are out of reach, you can now just build for yourself. And it means that you really can kind of get out into the world and put your idea to the test.
Good answer. Reach this space with all these new businesses popping up.
I'm looking forward to them.
So exciting, isn't it?
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really interesting chat.
Yeah, lovely to meet you. Thanks very much for the time.
Thank you.
Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing such an insightful and forward-thinking conversation. It's been a pleasure having you with us. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next week with another powerful story of entrepreneurship. And of course, this episode was recorded at BH Podcast and Streaming Studio.